Welcome back to Let's Talk Race in Ireland. I'm your host, Harrison Paul. Today I'm going to get into a very sticky situation. It's a situation that I would more than likely prefer to stay away from, but I think it's a situation that's going to help us to understand things in which I've been yearning for the Irish diaspora to understand. Of course, we know there's a culture that's going on right now, or rather a movement against foreigners that are blaming foreigners for everything. I'm least concerned about those people because to me, they're actually quite entertaining. I am more concerned about the blurry lines that I'm seeing in a time like now. There's so much blurred lines. You've got a friend who will say, oh, well, look, the boys, they're stupid for the way they're going about it, but, it's not really what they mean because, this compromising, which really is giving me such a good look to what we deal with growing up in Ireland. We're forever in this gray area. That's the culture that we grow up with in Ireland. So today I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial. I'm going to start with this. To this young lady, Katja, this is going to be a very controversial video, and I want you to understand you a black sister. I am so proud of everything you're doing. I am so joyful for everything you're doing. I'm so happy to see a black woman in those spaces and doing things that as young kids growing up in Ireland, we were always, kept from those areas. They were not areas for black people. We understood this. So to see a young sister there shining and glowing definitely is what I'm happy to see. In fact, I do this page because I want to see more of Katjas. I want the era of Katjas to continue. I want there to be more and more opportunities. Young black girls who can grow up and say, you know what? That doesn't look like an all-white zone. I guess I can aspire to be there. And of course, I've had my fair share of television. We also know the environments when you get into those places are also very, how do I say it? The oxygen is very thin for a black person. And you may understand this. You obviously get the people who are understanding, but it's very thin for a black person if we're being completely honest. So not only am I trying to, or we are trying to create opportunities, but we're trying that when another young black girl or boy gets in there, she can be herself. She can be her African self. She can blossom and doesn't have to assimilate and be who she is as a young black girl, and then represent us as Africans, as Irish Africans, if that's what they claim that we are. I'm in two minds about that. But I'm going to get straight in this situation. And I address Katja only because, well, that's our sister. Excuse me. I seen a post today. In fact, I had gotten an argument yesterday with some Irish boys and an Irish girl, and I found myself apologizing for the first time in 3 years. I've been doing this job for 3 years. I've been relentless for 3 years. I found myself apologizing for the first time in 3 years. It took me about an hour to take the post down and realize, what are you apologizing for? Because what you have to understand for anybody who does care about the liberation of black people and equality and equity, a place of, a country with equity to the benefit of black people who have been undermined and discriminated against. That you cannot allow yourself to be soft. You cannot allow yourself to be soft. You cannot allow yourself to be compromised. And I thought I'd found myself being a little bit too harsh. But then at second thought, I realized it depends what perspective you're looking at it from. If you're looking at it from a perspective of someone who doesn't care about our issues, then it's harsh. If you're looking at it for a person who extremely cares about our issues, then it cannot be harsh. And this is the point I'm trying to get to. And then I started to ask myself, well, how many, because few people came to my comments to police how I was fighting. How many people are policing their white peers in work or friends or family members? Because the people who came to me don't know me personally. They know me from Facebook. So let's use that metric as like someone you kind of know from Facebook. How many people are you going to police that you kind of know from Facebook? And this is the toxic culture that we are forced to deal with as African people, which makes us compromised. Because we are policed on how strongly we fight back at injustice, yet they do not police their people as hard. We can talk about the far right movements, or we can talk about the fact that you may have an aunt, an uncle, a cousin who is using very reckless language during this time that they feel is justified. The government, we're full, we can't handle this, we can't handle that. I would make this episode about educating people about what neocolonialism is and how much Ireland being in the EU exploits Africa and the whole civilization you guys have, phones and minerals that help your economy run, buildings you see that have computers. Anybody who has a job in Dublin City or Cork City that have computers, lights, most of your minerals are found in Congo, are found in places within Africa. The EU exploits those raw minerals and then makes money off of them, manufactures them, makes money, and then you have why the EU is this promised land for the African, because he is denied the fruits of his labor. And then you have people here in Ireland who are able to have majority of things that they take for granted. And then we are told, why are you here? So I could get into neocolonialism in a very deep manner, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to talk about the blurred lines that we have within Irish culture. Today, I was scrolling and I came across a post by a person who I actually had a disagreement with yesterday. Strangely enough, he didn't unfollow me or unfriend me. I was okay with not unfriending him. Why? Because I don't like to look like I'm afraid of a good debate. I don't mind a good debate. You can bring whatever you want to me as a good debate. But when he shared this post, proving my point, it brought to my attention something major. There is a guy called 3BucksLeft, I think. They're an Irish group called 3BucksLeft. And they have a post today that he shared. He said they must have stopped sending out troker lent boxes because they're able to collect them here themselves these days. I'll repeat it. They must have stopped, they must have stopped sending out the troker lent boxes because they're able to collect them here themselves these days. I did a video quite recently breaking down the mentality behind why troker was purposefully done and willfully done and intentionally done. I am not going to get into that because that's going to take a lot of our time. But that is proof and evidence as to why they've had troker ads running for Africans since I've come out the womb, because this narrative empowers white people to believe themselves to be superior to black people. And then it vindicates them, or rather covers their sin of the exploitation they are doing to African countries. If you're waiting for the Irish government or any government within the EU to openly say we have been exploiting Africa, you are dead wrong and you are silly and you're going to wait until your grave. It will never happen unless we push them to do so, which is why I do movements like I'm doing now. But I will get to the point which made me actually lose my mind today. I went and I clicked on this 3BucksLeft guy. And I clicked on his page. And the first thing that popped up on my screen, and I knew his face. Why did I know his face? Because the last few days, I have a page against racism in Ireland. I'm trying to investigate this movement against foreigners and what it really entails, so I can speak to it, so I can speak to my people who are seeing it happen. And this guy came up on my page. So I recognized the face instantly because either Ferguson or Pepper or one of them guys shared him. And then I was like, okay, I see this is one of them lads, you know, the far right group. So it's crazy for me then to flick on that page and I'm seeing, out of all Irish people I could be seeing, I'm seeing the one who surprisingly is with a black woman. You don't see it much, especially in our generation, but I'm seeing it now. And it's Dara. And I'm asking myself, please follow me where I'm going with this, because I'm certainly not a petty person. I'm just serious about my people. You will not find another person within this country who's more serious about African people as I am. And I am appalled with the compromised culture we have towards our self-determination. Why? Because we got to survive. Because of situations like this. We are in compromised scenarios that cause us to be compromised. So I'm asking myself, the person who has posted something so disgusting, why am I seeing that he has created content with one of the only black, and when I say black, I don't mean using the mixed girl, the mixed race girl that's used to meet a quota. I'm talking about one of the moments as dark-skinned people we can cherish, not taken away from mixed people. You are brothers, you are sisters, especially if you're psychologically black, you're definitely one of our brothers and sisters. But the issue, we already know there's colorism within these, institutions and how this game works. They're going to take something closest to white before they take the dark sister. So the fact they have taken a dark sister, Ireland, and put her in the place that she has, is rare, and we're happy to see it. And she's with a white man. I could have another conversation about that. Today, we may go there. Let's see how we are for time. Why am I seeing the number one black woman's man who is a figure for our liberation, a figure for our development, a figure for, they said black people couldn't make it here. Now we are getting to these spaces that we were not allowed to be. Not an appearance on RTE and you take your black ass back home, excuse my French. I'm talking about a resident. This is her office. This is huge. And here we are, cozied up with a far right person who makes comments such as this. Now, there's so many ways I could look at this situation. I could ask myself, maybe he didn't see the tweet. Maybe he didn't know. And that's when I will give my benefit of the doubt. But this is what I want to explain. This benefit of the doubt and how I'm going to further explain this is my problem. Listen to me. Within Irish culture, why we only have one Katja? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, sis. Why we only? It's because we can be played with and we can be messed with because we are compromised African people here. African American, there isn't only one Katja. There's thousands of Katja. And it is not because of the time they've been there. Yes, they have time to develop the mentality that they have that's brought them there, but it's not the time. They could have been there with the same mentality and never made it to those spaces and only had one or two catches in certain positions. They learned over time that we have to be self-determined uncompromisingly. And this is a brilliant example and representation for Irish culture. You got a friend here, and we'll use Dara as an example. And he has a racist friend. Or he has a racist type of mentality friend groups. Now, I could say something very controversial here, but you guys won't like that. I understand Irish culture so much let's put it this way. I know who the liberals are when I see them. I know the type of culture of people who are open-minded. I know the type of people who don't have a prejudice deeply rooted in their subconscious mind. I know the people who are determined to learn and to understand a world outside of that small, tiny little world we call Ireland. It's people who understand that we are a dot in this greater picture. You're friends with somebody who you think is not racist, which will be Dara, for instance. Now, and I think if I had not posted this video, I really think that it wouldn't have been a problem. And I'm just thinking about the people who watch this and understand this and why we have a compromised culture in Ireland. Because you're a black person, you're at home, you're sitting and you're thinking, oh, geez, I'm seeing that guy 3Bucks name fly around being far right. I saw that tweet earlier. Oh, is that Dara? The #1 black woman. I don't know. Let me be aspirational for you, Katja. Our Oprah. Is that the hubby? So then what do I tell myself as a black person? Okay. The motto is put yourself second here in Ireland. Put your self-determination second. Why? And that is the culture that we have here in Ireland. Is there so many gray areas and blurred lines? Do I believe if he was to see that tweet tomorrow, he would have messaged 3Bucks and said, cancel our episode tomorrow? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know 3Bucks thought like this. Although I could have guessed 3Bucks was that type of a dude. Let's guess he didn't think that. Although his name has, I told you, I saw him prior as his name was flying around with the far rights. This is 1 day ago, 1 hour ago, it's up on the screen. And then you do an episode with him. Right, let's say he saw the tweet. What are the chances you say to him, take that episode down now, I don't want nothing to do with you? And this is why the culture within Ireland is dangerous. This is why, for me, I've always thought strongly about interracial relationships. I have nothing against white people. How determined can you be, Katja, for your people? Understanding there are young black girls like you, and I'm also going to put this out there as well. A black woman of your shape, we got to put that out there too. 5 years ago, not getting the opportunity. This is not a game, the position you got. It is not a game, the position you got. This is a big moment. I'm sure everyone looked and said, wow, a curvy sister can be up there. She ain't got to be skinny mini like an Irish girl. She can be up, one of us up there. That's a big position. Young black girls probably won't look at themselves in the mirror and hate their shape and hate their face. That's a massive responsibility. But now, had I not made this video, I believe, there would have been a compromise. I'll leave him, it's in Egypt. But that sends a message. Sends a message to our brothers and sisters. But you know what? I'll be real with you. It wouldn't send that big of a message because that is Irish culture. It's gray areas. There's not dead down the middle. It's gray areas. So that's why when it comes down to fight for black development and black self-determination, everyone hides in the corners. You want to go find self-determination? Go to America. Why? I lived there for some time. It's chopped down the line. We say everything out there. I have nothing against white people. I have nothing against love. I have nothing against love of, but how determined can you be? How determined can you be? There are positions she's gonna get in as a black woman that she had to compromise. Because just here is an example. He's not like that, to me. He's not he's nice. He may have but me on the other hand, I got a black daughter I plan to raise in Ireland. Who there are other Irish boys who found that funny, who my black daughter's gonna go to school with them. There's people who think like this in the country. So what's a joke to you? And that's what we think Irish are very good at being nice. It's not about niceness. It's about respect. And that is where the Irish Negro has forgotten what we don't want niceness. That's why he's saying troker boxes. We've been troker boxes since 96, since we came here. Uninformed Irish people not understanding that their civilization has been built off of the ruins of Africa. European civilization has been built off the ruins of Africa, and they gave you this fake story corruption. And that's it. So now Africa, you internalize that. Well, I have been brought here because there's corruption back home. There's wars back home. Do you know who's starting those wars? I'm gonna play a clip for a little bit of wisdom for you guys. I gotta make it educational. Check this clip out.
The Western media shows two warlords, two rival military factions, ordinary people frightened and fleeing, but nothing explained, no context, no responsibility. The European elites throw up their hands and wonder, how shall we swoop in and save the Africans from themselves? But there's no mention of European funding, external border policies, the financing of state forces to round up desperate people migrating north to stop them reaching Europe. We've removed our fingerprints from this disaster and we pretend it comes from nowhere. I agree that we need peace, but how? As usual, this isn't about what we must do, but what we've got to stop doing. Sudan needs civilian government. Sudan needs economic justice. It needs an end to militarised extractivism in rural communities driven by the circuits of Western capital. That's the cause of the decades of instability and suffering in Sudan. If we stop paying the warlords wages, maybe then the people of Sudan would have a chance at civilian government.
Thank you very much. And now I would...
Listen to me, brothers and sisters. I am completely and utterly proud of this black woman. So much I want to see it more. I had to bring this to light because she is the #1 woman, black woman, sitting at the top of our community at the highest possible place in entertainment-wise, which is important because representation matters, right? And what mixed messages is that sending to our people? He's making jokes, and this is Irish culture. You go to the pub, you go on a night out, you have that lad who's made comments, who's done this. I'm only having a laugh. Your self-determination, Negro, is compromised. Yeah, that's Dago. He's only having a laugh. The joke's on you, my brother. One thing I'm gonna let you know, African Americans, we all seen it now because of the internet, they don't play with a Karen. They don't play with a joke. They don't play with nothing. Malcolm didn't die to make no jokes. Martin didn't die to make no jokes. For you African, you have to understand, people who fought for your liberation in Africa didn't die for people to make no jokes about you, to not take you seriously as an African. And that's why you're not taken seriously. And that's why you think it's a fair game. But then you look around, look at every high place. I don't care how strong your Dublin accent is. Look at every high place in Dublin and show me where you see you. Look at the doll. Look at the police departments. Look at the healthcare, the top of healthcare. Not down there. Look at the top of every institution. That's why you guys think that I'm doing this page. And you're going, why is Harrison doing this page? Because I go to the pub with Johnny and we have a good laugh. I go to the pub with Eric and we have a good laugh. And that's about all you will get. Yet we only have one Katja. And we only have to look at entertainment. What about academics? What about the president of Trinity College, like Claudine Gay? What about a Taoiseach that's black? What about MPs that are in the Dáil who actually have a strong say, who are uncompromised? What about creating a culture that black people, when a black person gets into the Dáil, they're not just a face, but they're actually someone who we look at and say, she knows, he or she in that Dáil knows that we expect her to be uncompromising, or she won't get our vote next time, because we've created a culture of uncompromising. No one in the Dáil. We had Georgianchenko's mother who lost a son due to brutality from the police. Racist incidents that happen, a black girl not given a medal. Racist incidents, real things happen in the workplace, everywhere. No one to advocate for them. You can go to my other episodes. I can show you how Irish were involved in slavery. I might even put in some pictures up right now. I can show you. So if you want to talk about history and Irish benefiting from the enslavement of African people, or I can show you neocolonialism. We have a right to be here, African. We have a right to flourish here, African. But if you're waiting for the Irish government to tell you why they have been pushing troker boxes for generations, they're not going to do that. They needed that narrative to stick. So you feel grateful for being here. And look, seems like your time is up now. Seems like your time is up now. Listen, we were being nice for as long as we could, but now, look it, we're full. We're full. Your whole infrastructure is built from the demise of my people. What are you talking about, you full? So you want to go enjoy your infrastructure, your cocoa. Easter's coming up, actually. You know, you love to have your little Easter bunnies. You're atheists, but you love your Easter bunnies, huh? Kids died in Africa getting that cocoa. iPhones, when you're scrolling, talking your rubbish. Tickets, you got to go on planes. The planes are built from cobalt. Kids dying in the mine to get them in Congo. Or you say it's because corruption. Go and check your history. Neocolonialism never truly ended. Go and read about the contracts that were given to Africa, the so-called contracts of independence. Oh, but the Irish were not involved. Then ask me and you tell me why my mother went to school with girls within Ireland, within Zimbabwe, Irish girls. Oh yes, that's right. Their fathers were here fighting against Zimbabweans getting their independence. Don't try battle me about the Irish not benefiting off Africa. And then you wonder why we're here. You need to understand. You need to understand, African, or you'll be played for a fool. Listen, I've said it 100 times. I gotta say it again. Katja, I want you to keep flying, sister. And I want you to take another bunch of young black sisters with you. But our confidence, our racial self-esteem is eroded. Eroded. Because of these blurred lines. I'm going to put that picture back on the screen. That picture right there, this is not against Dara. This is just for you to see. This is Irish culture. This is why I exiled myself. This is why I allowed myself to be this guy where everyone's like, yo, Harrison, you see Harrison? He's just gone crazy. Yo, Harrison just got off the map. Because our standards are so low. We're not looking. But in America, people die not for you to be compromised. That's why Super Bowl can be about black Americans. Because they know there could not be a movement against foreigners right now, and black Americans are quiet. There could be not a movement against black people, and black people are quiet. Never. Only here you'll find that. Only here. And our main voices, black and Irish, everybody, silent. Oh, but this is too radical. What about our babies growing up? What about our babies coming up? What about our babies coming up? What are they going to see from situations like this? Oh, they're going to see, listen, I can't bring that pro-black, that extra black, that strong black here because my friend who has the opportunity, who may help me, I got to compromise. Even Katja, she got her man. He was cuddled up with that far right person, never denounced him. That's the way the game go out here. Why? I'm learning. I'm learning from her. Blessings to you all in Ireland. My love for you is unconditional to every single African in Ireland. I grew up in that culture. I understand how difficult it is. I understand how much we are not getting truly what we are worth and what we deserve out of that country. And we have minimized and we have lowered our standards of what we think is a great culture. If you want to settle for niceness African, that is a low standard for. We don't want niceness. We want respect and our due diligence in every category, in academia, in entertainment. We don't want one pieces of tokenism here and there and there. Thank you so much for watching.
And I'm on a mission for you.